The Amazon canopy looked endless from orbit, an emerald ocean stretching beyond the horizon. To High Marshal Zethor, it was nothing but a backwater wilderness, a reminder of humanity's undeveloped world. He stood tall in the command deck of the Dominion warship Razor Fang, his plated armor glimmering under the pale glow of control screens. The jungle below hissed and breathed like a living creature, but to him it was inconsequential. "Deploy the walkers," Zethor ordered. His voice carried an edge of disdain. "Let the beasts know the Dominion has arrived. Sweep their forest aside." A chorus of acknowledgments rippled across the bridge. Below, drop pods screamed through atmosphere, fire trails carving through the skies. Great mechanical constructs, four-legged war machines bristling with plasma cannons, descended into the jungle, tearing gaps into the canopy as they landed. On the ground, Captain Elias Rourke crouched beneath dripping leaves. The air was heavy with damp earth and the buzz of insects. Sweat ran down his neck, hidden under streaks of mud and leaf paste that camouflaged his skin. Around him, his squad blended seamlessly with the terrain, faces streaked green and black, rifles wrapped in moss, movement as silent as the jaguar stalking its prey. Through the calm bead, Sergeant Vega whispered, "Walkers touching down, 3 clicks west." "They're loud, Cap Sloppy." Rourke smirked. "They don't know what sloppy means yet. Hold positions." The ground trembled as the alien machines advanced, legs sinking slightly into the mud. Bright searchlights cut through the undergrowth, stabbing into darkness. A squad of Zyrak soldiers marched alongside, armored in glossy plates that hissed with energy fields. They laughed in guttural tones, broadcasting their voices on open comms. "Primitive," one sneered. "This forest would not survive a season on Zyrak. The humidity fouls our sensors, but the animals are amusing. It is a menagerie, nothing more." Rourke caught the words through a translator feed. His jaw tightened. He motioned to Corporal Hayes, who adjusted a line of vines knotted across 2 massive trunks. The alien soldiers pushed deeper. One paused to kick a rotting log, startling a swarm of beetles into flight. Another raised his weapon toward a rustling bush, firing indiscriminately. They mocked as they shot, wasting charge packs for entertainment. Rourke whispered into his mic, "Mark." Hayes sliced the vine. A weighted trunk, cut halfway through earlier, groaned and fell. It crashed into the nearest walker's legs, snapping hydraulics with a squeal. The machine toppled sideways, crushing 2 soldiers beneath it. Before the others could react, the jungle erupted. Gunfire from above shredded alien ranks, humans firing from hidden perches high in the canopy. Shapes dropped from vines, knives flashing, silent as shadows. Claymore mines disguised as mossy rocks detonated beneath armored boots, hurling soldiers into the air. The jungle swallowed their cries. Rourke sprinted from cover, firing 2 sharp bursts into an alien officer's exposed joints. He ducked behind roots, reloaded, and scanned his team's movements. Vega's squad circled left, her rifle bursts clean and precise. Hayes was already dragging a fallen alien into the brush, stripping power cells from its gear. Every motion was practiced, fluid, deadly. Within minutes, silence reclaimed the clearing. Smoke curled from shattered machinery, mingling with the wet smell of soil. The jungle buzzed again, as if nothing had happened. "Clear," Vega called softly. Rourke moved to the toppled walker, placing his hand against the cold plating. He studied its shattered joints, the way mud had clogged the servos. It wasn't just human planning, the jungle itself had done half the work. "They laughed at it," he muttered. "Now it's laughing back." Hayes emerged from the foliage, carrying an alien plasma rifle. "Their tech's good, but it hates this place. Moisture's already fouling the charge packs. Couple hours, and these things will jam themselves." "Then we don't give them hours," Rourke replied. Above, Dominion dropships thundered overhead. More machines were being deployed, cutting fresh holes into the canopy. From orbit, Zethor watched the scattered telemetry of his soldiers flicker and vanish. Reports came through fragmented, filled with static and panic. "High Marshal," an officer stammered. "The humans ambushed the first patrol." Losses, significant. Zethor's mandibles clicked in irritation. Losses? To animals and trees? Double the deployment. Burn them out. The officer hesitated. Our scanners, interference continues. The humidity. Zethor slammed a clawed fist onto the console. Do not blame the air for your incompetence. Push them harder. Crush the foliage if you must. This world will bend. On the ground, the jungle vibrated again with descending fire. This time, heavier machines unfolded, bristling with flamethrowers and reinforced plating. Troops poured in greater numbers, methodical and rigid in formation. Rourke's squad regrouped on a ridge, crouched among broad leaves that dripped with rain. He scanned the oncoming columns through binoculars. Their lights cut like white scars across the green. Here comes round 2, Vega said grimly. They'll keep sending more, Hayes added. Whole damn jungle's gonna be crawling in minutes. Rourke studied the terrain. Rushing streams, tangled vines, predators lurking unseen. The jungle wasn't a battlefield, it was a partner. He tapped his calm bead. Listen up, he told his team. They think the forest is against us. They don't understand, it's fighting with us. We give it the chance, it'll do half the killing. Vega gave a sharp nod. Then let's give it teeth. The squad melted back into the green, leaving nothing but silence and dripping leaves where they had crouched moments before. Down below, alien soldiers advanced cautiously, weapons raised. Their commanders barked in frustration, demanding progress, demanding the forest yield. The jungle had no intention of yielding. As the second column marched deeper, they passed beneath branches thick with vines. Each vine was weighted with stones and soaked with fuel. A single spark from Hayes' igniter sent them crashing down in a curtain of fire. Chaos exploded as alien ranks broke, stumbling over roots, colliding in confusion. Rourke whispered into his comms, calm and steady amid the screams. Now! Hit them hard! Gunfire erupted again. Grenades concealed in hollowed-out logs detonated in succession. Snipers picked off officers. The jungle's shadows moved with human cunning, striking and vanishing before the aliens could regroup. On the razor fawn, Zethor leaned forward, claws digging into the armrest of his throne. Another report came through, a second patrol lost, walkers toppled, soldiers scattered. He snarled, eyes narrowing. These humans, he hissed. They think shadows make them strong. Very well. Let them drown in their shadows. He turned to his officers. Send in the dropships. Full assault. Let the canopy burn. Rourke crouched in the mud, watching the massive silhouette of a dropship pierce through the treetops, light flooding the forest floor. He tightened his grip on his rifle, lips curling into the ghost of a smile. Here we go, he murmured. The real war begins. The jungle was no longer quiet. Smoke rose in twisting plumes where the Dominion dropships had cut through the canopy. The air was thick with the stench of scorched leaves, sap boiling on trunks, and the metallic tang of ozone from plasma bursts. Rourke crouched in the marshy undergrowth, his squad hidden around him. Their faces glistened with sweat and rain, but their movements were calm, patient, like predators waiting for the stumble of prey. Through the treeline, the alien army advanced with grim precision. Dozens of soldiers in heavy armor stomped forward, flamethrowers strapped to their arms, spraying bursts of fire into brush and vines. Behind them marched the Dominion's walkers, smaller than the behemoths dropped earlier but faster, their sensor arrays whirring constantly. Swarms of hovering drones darted ahead, their optical lenses glowing crimson as they scanned. They're learning, Vega whispered. Sweeping the brush before stepping in. Rourke adjusted the scope on his rifle. Learning doesn't mean understanding. Watch closely. They burn what they can't see through. That's desperation. The squad waited as alien flames consumed a grove of young trees. Birds erupted into the sky, screeching in panic. The fire cracked and hissed, but the rain fought back, steam rolling across the line of soldiers. The drones chirped erratically, confused by heat and moisture colliding. Rourke gave the signal. Hayes triggered a buried charge near a stream crossing. The explosion sent mud and water into the air, swallowing 3 soldiers and shorting 2 drones instantly. Before the aliens could regroup, Vega's rifle barked twice, dropping a pair of officers. Gunfire echoed, then silenced again as the squad melted into foliage. The Dominion soldiers fired wildly into the green, bolts slicing harmlessly through hanging vines. One alien commander bellowed in fury, voice distorted through a translator. "Cowards! Stand and fight, animals!" Hidden high in the branches, Rourke muttered, "We are fighting. You just don't know how." The ambush broke their line long enough for the squad to reposition. They didn't stay still. Every strike was followed by withdrawal, every sound masked by rain or the call of unseen birds. The jungle itself cloaked their movements. The Dominion kept advancing, their discipline fraying with every ambush. Sensors faltered in the wet air, armor steamed from constant flame use, and boots sank deep into mud with every step. By midday, Rourke's unit had cut down 2 full platoons. But the cost was showing. Corporal Dinesh staggered back from a firefight with burns crawling up his arm where a plasma bolt had grazed him. He clenched his teeth as Vega wrapped the wound, the smell of cooked flesh curling upward. "We keep this up," Hayes said quietly. "We're gonna lose people fast." Rourke crouched beside Dinesh, steadying him as the corporal's breath hissed in pain. "We all knew the risks. Every shot we take, every trap we spring, it's buying time. Time for Earth to rally. Time for the jungle to choke them." Dinesh managed a weak grin. "Time for them to regret coming here." They buried him 2 hours later after another clash, the wound festering too quickly in the damp heat. The grave was shallow, marked only by a line of stones. Rourke stood over it, silent, then pressed mud across his face in a silent vow. When he rejoined the squad, his voice was harder. "We don't fight for ourselves alone. We fight for everyone they'd trample. Make every bullet count." The Dominion pushed deeper that evening. Frustration turned their discipline brittle. Zethor's voice barked across their comms, carrying even into human earpieces through intercepted feeds. "Forward! Flush them from their holes! Burn every tree if you must! Dominion steel bends for no one!" Rourke smirked bitterly as he listened. Arrogance was louder than strategy. He held up a hand, signaling silence. The squad crouched in the marsh, waiting. A column of soldiers splashed through the river ahead, their armor gleaming in searchlight beams. Behind them trudged 2 walkers, their heads swiveling like predators sniffing prey. Rourke tapped his mic. "Now." Charges rigged in hollowed logs upriver detonated, sending a wall of water and debris surging downstream. The waves slammed into the column, tearing soldiers from their footing, shorting exposed weapon systems, and knocking a walker onto its side. The second tried to stabilize, but the mud sucked at its legs until it toppled. Vega's voice was sharp, focused. "Targets exposed." Gunfire flared. Grenades rolled from the undergrowth. The ambush shredded the drenched aliens. The survivors staggered back, scrambling up the bank, their weapons spitting blindly into shadows. The jungle swallowed the echoes again, leaving wreckage in the river and silence along its banks. Hayes let out a low whistle. "They'll think twice before walking into water again." "They won't," Rourke answered, scanning the carnage. "Pride doesn't think. It only pushes forward." And forward they came. That night, the Dominion launched flares across the canopy, bathing the forest in red light. Shadows shrank, the sky glowed as if blood had stained the leaves. Dropships unloaded heavier machines, armored constructs shaped like insects, their multiple limbs clattering as they advanced. The squad retreated deeper, weaving through ferns and buttress roots. The jungle was alive with hisses and calls, predators stirred by unnatural light. Rourke stopped suddenly, crouching near a set of prints in the mud, fresh jaguar tracks, deep and purposeful. He smiled faintly. The jungle's own hunters were moving too. "We let them keep pushing," he said. "The deeper they go, the more this place owns them. And when they're too far in to crawl back out, we cut the heart from their chest." Hours later, as dawn broke, the earth shook with a new sound. Not the steady rhythm of walkers, but something heavier, deeper. The canopy itself trembled. The squad watched from a ridge as the Dominion's latest weapon emerged, a towering war machine, taller than the trees, its hull plated in segmented armor, massive cannons mounted on its shoulders. Each step left craters in the soil. Its furnace-like core glowed between plates, belching smoke into the sky. Hayes swore under his breath. "What the hell is that?" Vega's voice was low, grim. "Hivebreaker. I've seen sketches and captured intel. It's meant to level entire ecosystems. They're not just burning jungle now, they're trying to erase it." Rourke studied the giant machine. For the first time, he felt the faint tremor of doubt. This wasn't a patrol or a column, it was annihilation given form. He exhaled slowly, voice steady when he spoke. "Then we make the jungle do what it does best. We smother it. We bleed it. We drag it down piece by piece until there's nothing left but rusting bones." The Hivebreaker's cannons fired, trees exploding in a line of fire that reached toward the horizon. The squad ducked as shockwaves rolled through the ground. The forest screamed as trunks shattered and creatures fled. Rourke's hands tightened on his rifle. His heart pounded, not with fear, but with the certainty of the fight ahead. He whispered into his calm, words meant for his squad, for the jungle, and perhaps for the galaxy listening beyond. "They thought they came to tame us. Now they'll learn, we are the wilderness." The Hivebreaker advanced like a walking fortress, its thunderous steps shaking the forest floor. Each footfall tore roots from the soil, sending vibrations through the earth. Birds scattered in shrieking flocks, and animals fled before the massive silhouette that split the canopy. Its cannons fired in rhythmic bursts, leveling swaths of jungle and sheets of flame. Rourke crouched low on a ridge, his squad spread around him. The glow of the beast's furnace lit their faces in flickers. No one spoke at first. The sight alone stole breath from their lungs. Hayes finally broke the silence. "How the hell do you kill something that size?" Vega adjusted her scope, eyes cold. "Not with rifles. Not head-on." Rourke studied the terrain, marshland stretching out before the machine, vines hanging heavy from towering trees, unstable ground hidden beneath layers of moss. The Hivebreaker was powerful, but it wasn't invincible. The jungle still had weapons left to give. "We bleed it into the ground," Rourke said firmly. "That thing's built for open war, not this terrain. We use the swamp, force it where it doesn't belong. It drowns like anything else." The plan formed quickly. Hayes and Vega set charges along the ridge, angled to direct the Hivebreaker's advance. Two others rigged vines with explosives, wrapping them around massive trunks that would collapse when detonated. Every trap was designed to guide, to funnel the machine toward the marsh. By the time dawn burned through the mist, the preparations were set. The Hivebreaker continued its march, alien soldiers trailing in disciplined columns behind it. From the ridge, Rourke gave the signal. The first charges exploded in a deafening blast, collapsing trees across the path. Smoke and debris cloaked the air. The Hivebreaker paused, scanners whirring, then adjusted course, exactly where Rourke wanted. "Keep feeding it," he ordered. Hayes triggered the second set of charges. The ground quaked as more trees fell, narrowing the route further. The alien commander barked in their guttural tongue, urging the machine forward. Soldiers followed in its shadow, unaware of the trap tightening around them. As the column entered the marsh, the ground softened beneath their feet. Water pooled around boots and neck legs. The Hivebreaker slowed, its weight sinking inches at a time. Vega lined her scope on the machine's shoulder joint and fired. The shot pinged harmlessly, but the Hivebreaker rotated its cannons toward the ridge, distracted. That was all Rourke needed. "Now!" he shouted. Explosives hidden in roots and vines erupted in unison. Entire trees toppled inward, collapsing across the mech's back. The canopy itself seemed to strike, branches tearing sensors and denting armor plates. The Hivebreaker staggered, one massive leg sinking deeper into the mire. Alien soldiers scrambled to stabilize it, shouting orders and firing blindly into the foliage. Rourke's squad struck from every angle, rifle fire, grenades, knives flashing in close combat. The Dominion formation fractured in confusion. Hayes tossed a charge beneath the machine's venting core. The blast tore through plating, spewing sparks. Steam hissed from ruptured joints as the swamp clutched the machine tighter. The high breaker thrashed, cannons firing wildly. One beam seared through the trees above Rourke, showering embers. He rolled into the mud, rifle clutched tight, then rose to keep directing his squad. "Cut them down! Don't let them regroup!" Vega's fire was surgical, dropping officers as they tried to rally. Hayes moved like a shadow between roots, planting charges on anything that hummed with alien power. The squad fought not as individuals, but as extensions of the jungle itself, swift, unpredictable, merciless. The high breaker groaned, sinking knee-deep. Its furnace core pulsed erratically. With a final heave, the swamp claimed it. The colossal machine toppled sideways, smashing into the muck with a roar that shook the canopy. Mud and water exploded upward, drowning its glow in brown sludge. For a moment, silence held. Then the surviving aliens broke. Discipline shattered, they fled into the trees, abandoning weapons and wounded alike. Their pride was gone, replaced with primal fear. On the Razor Fang, High Marshal Zethor stood frozen as reports flooded his console. The pride of the Dominion, crushed beneath mud and vines. His mandibles trembled with rage. "This is impossible," he spat. "No feral creatures could do this." But the data was undeniable. His soldiers routed, his war machine drowned, his campaign collapsing. Rourke intercepted their comm feed, letting his voice cut across the channel. Calm, sharp, laced with mockery. "You thought we were prey. Turns out, we're the predators." Static filled the line before Zethor's furious snarl broke through. "This isn't victory. This is defiance. The Dominion will return. Then we'll be waiting." Rourke answered, and cut the feed. The battlefield quieted. Smoke drifted above broken machines, mingling with mist rising from the swamp. The squad regrouped near the wreck, faces streaked with grime, uniforms torn, but spirits unbroken. Hayes let out a shaky laugh. "Never thought I'd see something that big drown like a rat." Vega reloaded calmly, eyes scanning the treeling. "Pride makes even giants stumble." Rourke surveyed the devastation. The jungle was scarred, but alive. Sap bled from shattered trunks, yet new shoots already pushed through the soil. It was resilience made flesh. Humanity wasn't alone, their world fought with them. He turned to his squad, voice steady but heavy with the weight of their losses. "We held the line. They'll spread this across the galaxy." Earth stood, and the Dominion broke. "That's the start of something bigger than us." Above, the alien fleet shifted formation. Zethor's retreat order rang out, bitterness thick in his voice. Dropships lifted from the jungle, engines screaming as they clawed back into the sky. The invaders were leaving, not in triumph, but humiliation. The squad watched in silence as the streaks of fire vanished into the clouds. Rourke finally spoke, almost to himself. "They'll be back. Arrogance doesn't die easy. But neither do we." He rested a hand against a tree trunk scarred by plasma fire. The bark was blackened, yet beneath it green still pulsed. Life endured. And so would humanity.